It hurts so much worse when they end up in a relationship with their AP. This is going to take some time. Even if it's not really interesting, it's certainly fun. I just need assistance. I'm completely and totally upset. After almost 4 years of dating and living together, my girlfriend decided to leave me. We were both unhappy with our relationship. Approximately 8 months have passed since she started working at a manufacturing. I was apprehensive since she was a young, highly attractive blonde girl, but I decided to put my confidence in her. She immediately established herself as a close friend, whom we'll refer to as Sean. Sean, she went on to say, was a wonderful guy who kept the creeps at bay while at work. She and Sean seemed to be enjoying every single post on every single social media network, which I discovered after a few months. I question as to whether or not my S/O has been conversing with him outside work hours. She says no, and I ask if she would show me her Snapchat so that I can verify her statement. Not the kind of person I am, but I knew something was up. She rebuffs him and admits to having a snap conversation with him. I managed to maintain my composure, but the closer they approached, the worse things became. My next step is a kind email to him, in which I inquire on the status of their friendship, while also expressing my displeasure with the nature of their friendship. He responds in the manner of the most kind guy I've ever encountered. I'm completely harmless. We're just amazing friends. Don't be concerned about me. We'll always be friends, says the narrator. I was in a lot better mood. Fast forward another month or two, and she starts taking lengthy trips at 1 a.m., sometimes lasting up to 4 hours. As a result of our exchange of locations, I now know that she did not fly anywhere to meet with him. However, it remains very suspect. This kind of behavior continues to recur, and I eventually contact her about it. I have a sneaking suspicion that you are having an affair with Sean. She's a little taken aback. My relationship with you would end before I cheated on you because I would never do anything like that. He's simply an exceptionally kind guy. I had faith in her. My wife was asleep when I went to bed around 3 weeks ago, and her phone began to ding. The text is from him. His name is in there. And she didn't even bother to change it to hide the fact that they were in communication with one another. "Good night, honey," reads the text after that. "I admire you and I wish you the best of dreams." I immediately rouse her from her sleep and confront her, and she becomes quiet. I'm not going to say anything since I kicked her out of my house because it belongs to me, and she fled. She was scared of going to her parents' house, so she slept in her car the night before. The incident is brought to the attention of my closest friends. One of them just happens to know the guy who lives around the corner from them. At approximately 9 a.m. on that particular morning, my friend saw her car around the corner. Sean's entrance driveway, she had been texting and calling me all night, begging with me to listen to her and put things right. I had been ignoring her messages. After about a week of pleading, begging and saying no, I finally fell in and said yes. I inform her that we'll talk after work. Remember, they're coworkers, and she's pleased by the prospect. As soon as I get off the bus at approximately midnight, I decide to drive by her place of business, since it is just about 90 seconds away from my house. Her car is positioned immediately next to his at the far end of the parking lot, where no one else is present, straight across from him. She'd been having a conversation with him the whole time. I'm on the verge of going nuts. When I go back home, I start making threats to harm myself. She notified the authorities and I was taken to the hospital for 3 days to be evaluated. I leave the hospital and go to my room to collect my phone. It was not allowed to be brought inside the room. In her letters, she expresses how I am her soulmate, how depressed she is, and how she'll be waiting for me until I'm ready to meet. It is at this time that I have been pummeling and robbed of pleasure. I continue to speak with her, and she informs me that she despises him as a result of what occurred to us, and that she has not talked to him since that evening. I meet up with her a few nights later, and we converse in my vehicle foolishly. I tell her she's in a secure place where she can tell me anything and I won't be furious or tell her I'm done with her. At the conclusion of the discussion, I ask her to show me her messages and confirm she hasn't spoken to him. Before she offers me her phone, I witness her erase their communication in the mirror of my window. She must have battled with me for 10 minutes about not deleting anything before admitting it. I've lost it again. How can you still lie and speak to him after all you've said to me? You must have feelings for him. She maintains she isn't, and she hasn't been messaging in that context. People have come out to me in the past 3 days with tales about her and Sean that I was unaware of. Hickey's, her presence at his place, and so on. I chatted with her briefly earlier today and apologized. I do. I have no intention of getting back together with her. She abruptly stops responding to my messages. I receive a text from a buddy who lives near Sean, who claims she's parked in his driveway. This happened approximately 6 hours ago, and she's still in his place. I'm completely broken. I adore this girl with all of my heart. We had a plan for our lives. I had my late grandmother's necklace fashioned into a ring to propose to her, and she was well aware. We were looking at homes to purchase. We had a total of 12 animals. We were made for each other. She was my dearest friend, my whole world. I doubt I'll ever love somebody like that again. I adored her in every way. I come home to an empty house and weep in the shower as she sleeps in his arms. That's not his girlfriend, but mine. This is quite difficult. Thank you for reading this far. All I needed to do was write it all down. Edit. Many thanks to everyone for their nice thoughts. We had another conversation in which she essentially just spoke up for him and talked about how he's really a very kind and caring man. There's no mention of desiring me more or anything, so I understand it now. I've banned her on all platforms and am having my phone number changed. She asked if she might contact me in a year or two, and I told her that I could be in a new relationship by then, and I'm a faithful guy, so I wouldn't answer. Update. D-Day, I think that's what we call it in my country, has been 1 month since it occurred. If you read my last article, you'll see that I've been attempting to accept the reality that we're done with this. I was only entirely myself. When I was with her, I have lost any sense of who I am and how I should act. I'm at a loss on what to do. In my life, there have been some amazing days as well as some terrible days. My job is tedious, and the only thing I can do is sit and think since I'm unable to use my phone. The bulk of my time is spent making connections between various pieces of information. For about 3 months, she had been cheating on me, and I recollect a number of incidents that led me to believe she was cheating on me. This past November, when she was out at work, I noticed some underwear on the floor of our bedroom. When I inquired as to why she was wearing underwear, she answered that she had found it in her drawer and was going to wash it right then and there. I now know she wore it, so kindly sent in photos of her wearing it. In December, she was fast sleeping, and I was sitting next to her watching television. She sprang up and shouted out her AP name as our cat knocked something over in the living room. I was completely clueless as to what was going on with them at the time. My curiosity about why she had addressed me by his first name was piqued, and she said, I was conversing with him at work before getting home. I don't know. Is there any limit to how ridiculous I can be? It's just really tough to deal with. Fighting with yourself over whether or not you would go back to her if she asked you to? I love her. We had many happy years together, and I was a fantastic husband and father to her. Despite the fact that I deserve better, I desire her instead. I can see that it will improve with time, and that my judgment will be less influenced by love. I am hopeful. Just thinking about them together makes me feel uncomfortable. She's been staying at his house, and I'm certain they've been having relations. I'm having trouble getting it out of my thoughts. It still seems as if I'm being discarded. On top of that, the individual is deplorable. I don't want to be disrespectful, but he's a special person. Despite the fact that he rides a motorcycle, goes to the gym, and has tattoos, she is over heels for him, believing him to be a cool guy with a wonderful heart. That feeling of arriving home from work to an empty house, knowing she's in his arms, stings the worst of all. I must come home to a tranquil emptiness since she seems to be pleased with herself. I'm not sure why I'm putting this out there. Venting? Is this only an update? I'm not sure what to say. It's remarkable how liberating it can be to just write everything down. Any suggestions for dealing with something that you thought would be a permanent feature in your life would be appreciated.